Hi, this is Jason Fielder with the Daily Forex Report for December 21st. We are currently looking at the US Japanese yen pair. This particular pair closed above previous resistance. It is moving to the upside with a bias to the upside. Look for it to potentially move as high as 91.72, possibly as low as 89.64. Look for some resistance around 91.30 and look for some support around 90.75. Okay, let's take a look at the Euro USD. This particular pair closed down. It did not break our low from Friday, so we do have an inside bar. Look for a breakout to the downside. We are looking for this pair to possibly move as high as 144.38, possibly as low as 141.97. Look for some resistance around 144.00 and look for some support around 142.00. Okay, now switching to the pound US dollar pair. This pair closed lower. It is moving lower with a bias to the downside. If we do get a reversal, look for it to potentially move as high as 162.50, possibly as low as 159.31. Look for some resistance around 161.63 and look for support around 6,000. Okay, now looking at the US Swiss, this particular pair closed higher today. It did form a second inside bar, so we do have the potential for a breakout, pretty serious breakout if we get the move down. Look for it to potentially move as high, though, as 1.0535, possibly as low as 1.0334. Look for some resistance around 1.0505 and look for some support around 1.0382. Okay, now I did get an email. Well, first let's go through news announcements. We have the gross domestic product for the pound being released at 4:30 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. Consensus on that is that things have improved from a negative 0.3% to a negative 0.1%. Year to date, things have improved from a negative 5.1% to a negative 4.9%. So not a lot of improvement, but nonetheless still improvement, which is always good. Now we do have the U.S. releasing their gross domestic product for the third quarter at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Consensus on that is that things are have held at 2.8%. Now we do have the New Zealand dollar releasing the gross domestic product at 4:45 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. As far as year to date, consensus on this one is that things have improved from a negative 2.1% to negative 1.3%. Now, I got an email recently about the euro and the fact that the euro has been just moving lower and lower, and it asked the question, where did I think this had the potential to end? I did just switch to the month chart. If you draw a trend line up on the lows of the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months prior to the month that we're in, and you can even tag this one. So basically over the past 6 months, half of a year, you draw a trend line, you get a nice little point at which it should have come down, tagged, and then moved higher. But it didn't. It actually broke lower. Now, where do I believe that if this trend continues to the downside, where do I think it will find some support? Well, we have an area here and here, these 2 months, where the highs were within the realm of reason. Remember, support and resistance is typically an area, not a particular price. We also have this month's low, tag that same area. We have a open here and a close here that are pretty close. And of course, we have this low. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different months historically that have found this area of resistance here, support, resistance, and support that we have, and we have support here as well. These two would be resistance. Nonetheless, we have areas of support that have now become resistance, and resistance that has now become support. And I do believe at this point we will see the market pull back a little bit. So if you draw your trend line, then draw a horizontal line. I basically took this month, pegged the low as a point of reference. Basically, when you zoom out and take a look at kind of what that looks like, you can clean these lines up a little bit and get a little bit more accurate with them if you want. You can start to see a picture of where things have the potential to go over the next little bit. So if you look, we have not broken the low as of yet for this week. From the previous week, we're about 5 pips or 4 pips away from it. You zoom out, zoom back in a little bit more to the day time frame, and you can see that we have an inside bar for this last session. So, and this is the low that we're looking for from last week to be broken. So you could definitely take this inside bar and look to go short and look for it to drop down to this point. Now that'd be a fairly large drop from where we're at currently. It'd be roughly around the 383 pips worth of movement, which is a significant drop. You could put your stop loss about to a 1-to-1 if you wanted up above the first trend line that we drew. I would think that if you get a break, if you really wanted to make it a tight stop loss, you could put it at this doji bar's high and then look for it to go lower. This is a longer term play. Here you're risking about 150 to get almost a 400 pip move. Could definitely be worth it. Now, will it take some time? Yes. I believe it will take some time. If you look at the same type movement, it takes usually, even with it dropping pretty strong, you're still looking at a full week for this trade to develop. So definitely keep that in mind. Well, that about does it for today. Until next time, this is Jason Fielder. Good trading.